What's up guys, Jeebs here. Today we are going to be talking about why I purchased a 2018 BMW M2 over an M235i or an M240i. This isn't talking about xDrive either. xDrive is all-wheel drive, and considering the M2 only comes in rear-wheel drive, I wanted to keep it as fair as possible. This also isn't a video meant to bash on the M235 or M240i. It's just separating the differences in what drove me to buy this over those two. So if you're in the market for one of these cars, I think this video will help you a lot. Enjoy the video. The first point of discussion, kind of the obvious one here, is going to be price. The cheapest non-M2 that you can get is a M235i right now currently on Car Gurus for $16,700, and it has 97,000 miles on it. The cheapest M2 that you can currently get is $31,000, but it's wrecked. So there's a huge price discrepancy between these two options. The other thing to note though is because of the lower production numbers of the M2 and the fact that it comes from the factory as an M badged car is going to let it hold value way better over time. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people that would fit the M235i or M240 better just because of their life situation, but if you're looking for a secondary car and you want to have a BMW, you're going to be happiest over time driving an M. My recommendation to you is save your money and get what you really want, because you don't want to be driving down the road in your M235i or M240 and you're enjoying it, but then you see an M2 and you're like, ugh. Because that is just the worst thing. My other car that I own is a Focus ST, and that's mainly what I make videos of on this channel. Now that I have this, I'm going to be producing just as many videos, but every time I see a Focus RS, I'm like, I'd rather be driving that. Now, on a daily basis, when I drive my ST, it's a softer car, so it is a better daily driver, but it would just be more fun driving an RS. And so being able to relate to that feeling, my recommendation is, and what I almost did just simply because of price, was go with the M235i or M240 and then tune it. The issue is, and we will talk about the performance differences between the M2 and the M235i, M240i shortly, but what it's going to take in performance to get your car up to almost equal to the M2, you might as well have just bought the M2 anyways. We'll get into that shortly. Whether you're getting an M2 or an M240 or M235i, you're getting the same engine, the N55 engine, which is a straight six twin-scroll turbo. That's also one of the reasons that people sometimes will say that this is not considered a real M car because it doesn't have an S-line motor. I beg to differ. I think this is honestly the best M car, and a lot of reviewers will say the same thing because it goes back to what made BMWs great. It's nimble, it's small, it has a short wheelbase and a lot of power, but balance at the same time. The M235i has 320 horsepower. When they moved it up to the M240i, it has 335 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque. So the torque is the same, but the M2 has 365 horsepower. The other differences in the engine is the M2 has the forged pistons and crankshaft bearings from the M3 and M4, along with their Valvetronic variable timing system. The M2 also has an upgraded cooling system and an oil sump system, So when you add all of that together, it's a lot more than just increasing the boost on the M2. The steering rack and subframe have been removed from the M4 for M2 duty. Now, one thing that's very important is the M2 also has the electronically controlled rear M differential. This option alone is $2,630 if you want to put that on your M240i. Now, in terms of a daily driver, I can understand why you may want to go towards the M235i or M240. The wheels are smaller, they're not as wide. That in itself is just going to give you more comfort on a day-to-day basis. I don't drive this car every day, but when I do drive it for my daily tasks, for work or whatever, it is a rough ride, and you don't have a way to control how firm or soft the suspension is, whereas in the M240i, you do have that option. Another thing to note is the interior of the 2 Series. If you get an M2, this is the only way you can get it from 2016, 2017, and 2018. In 2019, with the M2 competition, there are 2 different seat options. They're still both black, but the difference is you can get either blue stitching or orange stitching. So that is one thing where in the M235i or M240i, you can get white interior, chocolate, brown, black, whatever color you want. There's a lot more options there, and I wish they had that option for this car. However, the seats have been great. I think my favorite feature of them is the ability to adjust the side bolsters, so how tight or how loose you want them to be is a really cool feature. So while these seats from the outside don't look that exciting, they're very functional and comfortable, and I really like them. While there is a lot you can do to the exterior of your M235i or M240i, the M2 just has it done in a way that you can't replicate in the aftermarket. For example, the rear of the car here is 3.1 inches wider than on M240. The front is 2.1 inches wider, and also the front bumper here creates 40% more downforce than that of the M235i or M240i. So there's things like that that, to me, I just couldn't replicate in the aftermarket for the M240. And again, just having the sensation of driving this around and not being worried. How about the sunset? Just absolutely beautiful. I just didn't want to be looking over my shoulder and thinking, man, I should have got the M2. Moving around to the rear here, the quad tip exhaust, which is normal. Oh my God. Normal. There's girls making a, there's girls over there making TikTok dances, and I'm losing focus. Let's see what they got. I'm sorry to interrupt this video, but if you ever take the peach emoji and threw it on their asses, that's about what it would be. Anyways, back to the M2. There were just a lot of things here that you can't replicate with the M240i, and that's why I ended up with this car, and also the long-term value of this. This is going to be highly sought after, and since I purchased it, the prices have not moved at all. They're exactly the same. If you're interested in what I paid for the car, check the card at the top of your screen, and you'll get all that information, how I financed it, how I didn't pay taxes on it, all that special stuff. But it's just an absolutely beautiful car. I'm very happy with it. I also considered getting the new Supra. But just not having the manual transmission, that really threw me off. I will say, though, the 2021 Supra with the increased power in the special edition that they came out with is, oh my God, that is such a beautiful car, and it's something I am considering getting in the future. But for now, this and the Focus ST are just great cars to own, and I might be getting a Tesla Model Y before the end of the year. So that's what you guys can expect on this channel. I do have some upgrades on the way for the M2, so I'm excited about that. I'm gonna probably be going with dine-in on a lot of the upgrades, but it's such a good car out of the box that I like to learn it first and then upgrade what I feel needs upgraded. I don't like just buying cars and start throwing parts on them when they may not necessarily need those upgrades. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you're still with me in the video, I'd appreciate it if you dropped a like. The best way to support me on this channel is just watching my videos all the way through, and if there's anything you want to see more of or less of, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.